I don't know, Dad, tell us when you went into the Army and...
Well, when we left Fort Leavenworth and went right straight to Fort Warren, Wyoming, and that's where we took our basic training up there at Fort Warren, and we was there 6 weeks, and then we went from Fort Warren down to, they call it Camp Carson. They say Fort Carson now. That's where we went to from Fort Warren, and we was at Camp Carson for 6 weeks, doing some more basic training. A lot of runner heads off in our legs too. And then we went, after we was there 6 weeks, then we went to Camp Hale. They said that was a brand new camp there over in the heart of the mountains. And we'd go about the middle of November is when we would go over there.
How'd you go? By train, wasn't it?
We went by train, yeah. And time finally arrived for us to go, and we, I guess they didn't want us to go in the daytime, afraid of the enemy might attack us. So we went after night, and we couldn't see much, but our old trains seemed like it had about all it could do to pull us up them hills. We went right up Royal Gorge, as I remember right, and I remember going under that bridge up overhead. It was light enough somehow that we could see that. I don't know why that was. But we made it all right, and got over there to Camp Hale, where the new camp was. It was a brand new camp. They just finished it. Still had a lot of sawdust on the floor where they hadn't cleaned some of them up real good yet. But they was real good camps. And I was in the 2nd platoon of that Camp Carson.
The 10th Mountain Quarter Master Battalion,
yeah, the
right?
10th Mountain Quarter Master Battalion is what it was called. And our whole company had one barracks. It was, we had 2 platoons, and there's 3 platoons. There's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd platoon, I believe that's what it was.
And you were which platoon and which company?
I was in the 2nd platoon under, what was his name? Oh boy, he was an old cowboy from the West. He was used to mules and he was used to horses, and he just grew up with them. And he happened to be my platoon sergeant, and I liked him and he liked me. And when we first got there, we didn't have too much to do, but we hadn't been there only a week or two. In come a great big train with a mule. Dogs are real long-haired mules. You ever seen? Some of them didn't even have a halter on, and some of them did. And we had to unload them after night. I guess I was afraid of the enemy there, because we unloaded them after night, horseback. And it took quite a while to get them all unloaded, and then they had tins built and stables built. And I don't remember how many meals it was, but there was an awful lot of it.
So that would have been the first part of the year in 1942?
That was, we got there in 1942, middle of November. There wasn't much of 42 left.
Okay.
And then we went into 43.
I see. Did you remember what company it was? You said it was 2nd platoon. It was like Company A, Company B. Do you remember your company?
Yeah, there was Company 1 and...
well, platoon, you said 1st, 2nd, and 3rd platoon, right?
Yeah, I was in the 2nd platoon.
But do you remember the company?
I don't remember much about the company. I know we had a company, but I just can't remember what company it was.
Happen to remember your company commander's name or anything?
Oh yeah, that was, the commander was Ingram.
Ingram, and he was, what was his rank?
He was captain.
Captain?
Yeah, he was over our whole company.
Okay.
England was. He was a great big rawbus fellow. Holler like hoot owl, talk loud and had a lot of fun. Liked to play cards, and I guess he wasn't too bad, but he was from Oklahoma, is where he originated from.
I see.
And he was with us all the way through there at Camp Hale. And we would go out in the mountains on some kind of a bivouac, and he was always in the lead. He led the gang, and he picked out the spot for us to camp. And we'd put up our pup tents, 2 men to a pup tent, sleep all night. We'd take the mules out with the mules already then.
Anybody has to go to the bathroom,
We'd turn them mules loose at night to graze. Sometimes we'd put them tie them on the road, but most of the time they would just turn them loose to graze. We had an old bell horse there, and the horse had a bell on it, and the mules were supposed to follow that bell, and they would to a certain extent. They'd follow that old horse around. But if the old horse got scared, I look out, they all went there. And
so how far away did you go from the main Camp Hale? Did you go off in the mountains a long ways? Or?
Once we went about halfway up Tennessee Pass up towards Leadville. I believe they said it was about 7 miles from camp up to Leadville. All uphill, every bit of it uphill. And me and my partner was watching the mules. And 2 guys had to stay out there with them at night. Supposed to look after them,
I see.
And the little old deer, they'd come down out of the mountains for water, and the mules get scared at them deer. And away they'd go. And one night, that little old deer scared them, and they got on a stampede, and the whole herd of mules went clear to Leadville. Yeah, we didn't have no mules at all. I'll tell you we didn't. We went back to camp that morning about daylight without any mules. They was all gone. So they had to go up to Leadville and round them up and bring them back.
So how'd they get them back? Did they haul them back or drive them
No,
back?
they drove them back. They drove them back to get a hold of that old bell horse, and he'd go out. They'd lead him ahead, and partly they would try to follow him. It helped a little. And they had a certain boy there that always rode the old little bird. He was a little fella. Wasn't big enough to do much work, but he rode the old bell horse, and we called him Little Bird. And he done a pretty good job of riding, too. I tell you they did. And then they learned us to pack, how to put a pack together and put it on the mule's back. And these mules had what they called a pack saddle. It wasn't like a saddle that you rode. It was just a made thing on the back, and put had cinches under the mule's belly to hold it on there. And then you'd put 2 packs on there, 1 pack on one side and 1 pack on the other side, and that kind of balanced it. And you had to know just how to put them packs on. We had 2 different kinds of hitches. I forget what the names of them hitches were. One was kind of short, light, and the other hitch was more complicated, took more rope. But anyway, that's the way the packs was put on. And they claimed they'd put on a little over, I don't know, a little over 200 pounds, a little more than a man on each mule. But there's so darn many mules that, they'd carry a lot of packs, that many mules.
So what were you packing? Machine gun ammunition, mortar shells, what?
Well,
Food?
whenever we was over in Italy and packed them over there, it was ammunition, 30 caliber, and I believe the other one was a 50 caliber. I know there's 2 different calibers, and that was heavy weights. That was.
Yeah. So what did you pack them with when you were still at Camp Hale?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. we didn't do the packing. The packs was already made.
Oh, really?
It was already made. It could have been dinners, you know, dinners for the boys.
K rations?
And K rations, that's right. We had K rations and C rations. And I know that we packed a lot of them, but I don't remember everything we packed on the mules.
What was the difference between a K ration and a C ration? Do you remember?
Well, the C ration come in a tin can, and the K rations in a box. And them little boxes, I like them. I really like them better than I did the can. Because that can, there was one real good thing to eat in them C ration cans, and that was I forget what it was anymore. Seemed like, I believe it was potatoes and eggs mixed together. And you open one of them, it was a real good, just a good little meal.
I see.
And the truck drivers, they didn't belong to our company, but they used the C rations too, and I'd put them C ration cans right close to the engine on their truck, and they'd warm them. They'd usually have a warm meal just from the heat of the truck. But to get back to them mules, there was a time there when we had to lead them. And we'd take, I believe it was 8 mules. 2 men took 8 mules. They'd each one ride a mule and then lead 8. And them mules had long bushy tails on the end, it was long bushy. You'd tie a big hard knot right in the end of the mule's tail. And then the next mule behind him, you'd take his hauler rope and tie the hauler rope real tight just above that knot in the other mule's tail. And it wouldn't come out either. And then the next mule behind him, you'd tie his hauler rope in that mule till you had 8 strung out in a string. And it didn't always work out good. And of course, whenever we would come to a creek, mules, they didn't like to get in the water, you know, they'd come down to it and stop and just, you know, and pretty soon when they did make up their mind to go, they'd give a great big jump and just pull the other mule, just about pull the other mule's head off. And that mule would jerk the other mule behind him, and all the mules got a good jerk. And that's the way we got it. It was laughable, that then when we'd get across that, and they'd get up where the trees was, we'd get in some trees that was second-hand growth. We'd trunk on them, wouldn't be over 5 or 6 inches through. And sometimes about 3 or 4 mules would go on one side of that tree, and the other 4 mules behind would want to go on the other side. And there they was hung up. And then when the rope would get tight between the 4 mules behind and the 4 mules in front, because the tree was in between them, and then them mules in front, them 4 mules would just pull with every strength they had against them poor devils behind that was tied to the tree. And I don't think we ever laughed so much in our lives as we did there. Well, I felt sorry for them old mules behind, especially the one that was tied to the tree. See, his halter rope would go on this side of the tree, and his head would go on this side of the tree. See what I mean? His head was on one side of the tree, halter rope was on the other side of the tree. And I'll tell you right now, that poor fellow had 4 mules in front of pulling on him.
About pulled his head off, I'm sure.
Well, I guess it would if that had been for that tree.
So how'd you get picked for that job? Did you know when you left Camp Carson that you were going to do that at Camp Hale?
No, we didn't know just what we was going to do, but they talked about mules. But we didn't know what we was going to have to do with mules.
I see.
They had mules in there that had never been broke, and they had some that was mean. They had one mule there that was just, I'll tell you, he just loved to kick you if he got a chance. And he kicked with both hind feet with all the power he had too. You had to. So when we got him, when they bought that bunch of mules somewhere, and whoever sold them, they took a big some red paint and painted a red splotch on his back hip, and then told him to stay away from that mule. Never go close to him. And everybody did except Jeff Swaller, my platoon sergeant. He just loved the mean mule because he grew up with them. So he said, I think I'll take him for my saddle horse. And he did. He got him in the barn and he tied up and got the saddle on him and led him around outside and he got on him. I don't know how. And nobody to help him get on, but he knew how to do it. And he got one foot in the stirrup pretty soon. On went the man. And boy, that old mule, he did buck, but he couldn't buck him off. He was a cowboy, that fellow was. He stayed on that mule. Don't think he didn't.
Was that a regular saddle? Just a saddle horse saddle?
Regular saddle. It was a good saddle.
So you all had a saddle for
yeah,
a
we
mule?
all had a saddle. That's one thing we did have. So after he rode him that first time, he says, what I've got to do now is whip break him. He says, if I can get him whip broke, I know I can ride him. So he didn't have no saddle on and no bridle or nothing. Just a whole lot. He took him and turned him loose out in the corral. And he took his black snake whip. He walked up pretty close and he cracked that old whip, and the old mule ran from him. And old Jesse just walked towards him and cracked it again. And before he got done doing that, that mule come up to him. With his head, not his heels. I don't know how in the world that he ever accomplished
I guess he was a mule whisperer.
He was. He told us when he says, the worst ride I ever took was a bucking bronco. And he said he was just bucking everybody off. Nobody could ride him. He said he bucked me off. And he said I thought I'd fool him. So when I got on, he said I had them tie my feet together underneath of his belly, across the rope. And he said,
that sounds a little dangerous.
He said he didn't buck me off, but let you tell you, I tell you, you get shook up because you can't get off. He can't buck you off.
I suppose.
So
do you remember any other guys' names from your platoon or your company?
well, I remember Sergeant Powers. I don't know whatever about him. He was the first sergeant. Sergeant Powers was, and he was a real good man. He was a good soldier, and he was a good man to get along with. I don't know whatever become of him.
How about just some of the guys that were in your platoon? You remember any other names?
I do, but I never did get to see any of them. Art Winthrop was about as good a friend as I had. He was a great big Swede from Washington. I guess he grew up in Washington and lived there all of his life until he went to the army. And he was a logger. He got to be a logger, cutting saw logs. But I don't know whatever become of him. And there was a boy from out here in western Dickens, Nebraska. I don't know what become of him. And they were on open highway. That's several of them. I never did contact any of them after I got out of the army.
Do you remember their names?
Well, yeah, Wilson was that one. I can't even remember his first name.
The guy from Dickens, Nebraska?
No, his name was Latimer, Slim Latimer from Dickens. But I should remember the one from Iowa, but that's been a long time ago.
Well, Herbert Anderson, right?
Yeah, Herbert Anderson, I knew him better than any. He was from Sudan, Iowa. And he got killed over there. And I know we was up on this mountain and he was down at the bottom of it when they went to shelling us. And when the mortars came over and the mortars coming through the air, they would scream like a woman coming through the air. And these boys, there was 8 of them they sent up there to to clean up something, and they was inside of one of these big tents, one of these great big tents, and they heard that mortar coming, and they all went down to Herbert, and they all lived through it but Herbert. They thought that that mortar hit him directly in the head, because they said his steel helmet was just riddled, and his head was gone. So he didn't even know what struck him.
Sounds like.
I know he told me, he said, if I ever get crippled up over here, he said, I want it to get me. He said, I don't want to go home a cripple. And I said, I'd much rather go home a cripple than to not go at all. He said, not me. And he didn't go home either.
So he's buried in Italy, right?
Yeah, they didn't even bring him back here to bury him.
At a military cemetery there somewhere.
Yeah, they did. There at Florence is where the big cemetery was. I didn't go to see his grave. I didn't have a chance, but Jess Waller, my platoon sergeant, he went and seen where he was buried.
So what else do you remember about Camp Hale? Didn't they have USO shows come in there and things? Different
Yeah, they did.
celebrities?
Yeah, they had what they called a field house there where they had shows and things. They had Joe Lewis there one night.
What else you remember?
Not really. But I remember I hadn't been there in a month or two. We went there about the middle of November, and I'd only been there about a month or two, and I got the mumps. Yeah, I got the darn mumps. And cold boils way down below zero, ice and snow everywhere. Went to the hospital. And they had a lot of hospital. You know, they had room for a lot of boys, and there was a lot of them in there too. I was in there about a month, and they told me, they said, now you don't have to leave. You can stay here a while longer if you want to, but you can leave now if you want to. So I figured I'd stayed long enough, so I left. And I hadn't been out only 2 days. It put me on guard. Put me out walking one night. It's cold, boy, it was cold. On New Year's Eve was when I walked it. And New Year's Eve between 1942 and 1943. I met one of the other boys. He was walking around one block and I was walking around another block, and we kind of meet there in that one place. And that's when I met, I said, Happy New Year, Pat. He said, you too, Roy, and he says, many, many more. That was New Year's Eve of 1942 and 43 when that happened.
So then what did you do all through the year of 43 and 44?
We just we done a lot of walking. They'd take us for walks, you know, way up and around the mountains. We'd bivouac overnight. Sometimes the next day we'd start back for camp. Sometimes we'd stay up there 3 or 4 days.
Sometimes you took the mules and sometimes you didn't?
That's right. Sometimes we didn't, and sometimes we didn't. But it was quite a thing when we took them mules. Oh, wild things, you know, you didn't have, you know, you just had to herd them like driving a bunch of cattle. So we got along good with them, pretty good.
But when did you leave Camp Hale then?
We left Camp Hale in June of 1944. That was when Janet Jean died, and we got the telegram, and we were just getting ready to leave then. So I took a bus and went to Denver to get on a train, and I couldn't get on a good train. It was just loaded with soldiers, just completely loaded. So I had to wait and take a slow train, and it didn't go very fast. It took me about forever to get up to Denver, and I finally made it though. And I think I had a 10-day furlough, and while I was there, before I started back, we got a telegram for me to not come back to Camp Hale, to go on to camp down there in Texas. What is the name of that camp?
Camp Swift?
Huh?
Camp Swift?
I don't think that was it.
I think it was.
Right there by Austin. Is that camp right there by Austin?
Camp Swift, I thought that's what you'd always said.
Well, maybe that's what it was. Is that right?
It's around Fort Hood, I suppose, but it's not Fort Hood. I think it was Camp Swift.
Well, we camped right there by Austin, I know that. And when it come time for me to go back, I got on the train at Falls City and had to change trains to Kansas City. I got to Kansas City and got down there and I got another telegram to not go on to Austin, to come back and go back to Camp Hale, because they hadn't left up there yet. So I took the next train and went back and got off at Falls City, and Walter was there to meet me, him and somebody else. And Walter said, "What are you doing down there? You just went down there and got your supper." But then the next morning I got on the train and went for Camp Hale. And we wasn't there in Camp Hale only a day or two. I got on the train again, and then we went to Washington from there. And it was...
So that was June of 1944.
Yeah, it was.
So then you were there for the rest of the year?
After I went back,
Yeah, you were in Texas for the rest of the year then.
we was there 6 months, yeah, till the rest of the year, because we left there, we locked the barracks up on Christmas morning, and they wouldn't let us back in, because they didn't want to dirty the floor up. But it was raining and snowing both outside, and water was even running down the road ditches. And our dinner was beans, black beans and nothing else. There was no bread or nothing else, just a plate of beans.
That was pretty hard on you, wasn't it, with no bread?
Well, it might have been hard on me. A lot of things was hard on me before I got out of there. But that was on Christmas morning.
Christmas morning, 1944, right? It would have been.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Of course it was. Christmas morning, 1944. So we had to stand outside in the drizzle. There wasn't much rain, you know, it just melted about as fast as the snow would hit. But we stood out there, she stood there, and we waited. What we was doing was waiting for the trucks to come to pick us up to take us to the ship, to get on the ship to go. So we stood there, we had our barracks bag, and everything we owned was in the barracks bag, and it was tall enough we could part of the time sit on it on the end of it for a chair. Well, it wasn't long till it come till noon, and they hadn't come and got us yet. So they brought us some more beans. We had another bean dinner. And then after dinner we stood there and we grumbled about this and grumbled about that, and it rained and snowed some more. Pretty soon it started to get dark. We stood right there all day long now. I don't think we didn't. And whenever it really did get dark, then here come the trucks. Everybody got in the truck and down to this place we went.
Sounds like they liked to do things at night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Well, we was in war, you know. You got to admit that we was in war.
Sure.
But when we left there, I think we got on a train, and yeah, we did. We got on there from Camp Swift, where we got on them trucks. Then we went from there and got on a train. And the damn train took off in the wrong direction. They said they was doing that on purpose so the enemy wouldn't know where we was going.
Where did they go to?
They just made a great big circle and come back around, got back to the ocean, and we got on the boat then.
So how far, you mean you went north instead of south?
For a ways. I
I
don't,
see.
I forgot what direction we were going before it was all over. But we finally got on the train and away we went. And them darn seagulls, they followed us for 2 or 3 days. I don't know how they get there.
Oh, you mean on the ship?
It was on the ship.
What was the name of the ship, do you remember?
Meg.
Meg, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Meg. That's the name of it. Somebody's, I don't know whether this is true or not, but somebody said it, they sunk it, Germans sunk it after they left over there and went back for another load. I don't know if that's true or not, but I heard that.
So the seagulls followed you for 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, they did. I just wondered where you gonna land, you know, find no landing place out here. But all at once it wasn't there anymore. They probably knew just how far to go and go back.
So, was that early January then, or was it still December?
No, that was January. That was January. And it was real rough. The wind was blowing kind of stormy. And that big old ship would go way up in the air, you know, and the waves would break out from under that. Down we'd go. And you know what it seemed like? It seemed like the middle of that ship was landing on a big pile of hedge post. It just, that seemed like it hit solid. But it was water, but it felt like it was solid. And everybody got seasick. And I made it pretty good the first day or two. I got to feeling bad too. And we had our bunk down below, and then we had to go upstairs to get up to the kitchen and dining room where we ate. And I got about halfway. There's a turn in the stair steps. They went up one way and they turned up another way. They had a waste paper basket sitting there on that turn place. That's where I puked. I puked in the waste paper basket. And then I went on up. And to eat, you didn't sit down. They just had tables there and you had to stand up. And he's standing up. And I got my beans on my plate. That's all we had. Still had beans, some black beans. And I don't know whether I took the first bite or whether I took any at all, but the next boy standing right there, he puked right in my plate.
God.
And he said, oh, he said, I'm sorry. He said, here, let me take that. I'll go get you a fresh plate of beans. So that's what he done. He got back with a fresh plate. I know he didn't feel very good, but he went and got the beans anyway.
So did you have anything besides beans while you were on the ship?
No, that's all we had. I tell you, they made beaners out of it. So then I thought, well, they had a good place for a shower. I'll take a shower. So I went in there and took my clothes off, turned the water on, got me some soap. And you know, you can't take a shower in that damn place. That just water won't, it's just not like water. The soap don't stick. But I tried it all I could and it got wet. Put my clothes back on. I thought I won't try that no more. So I didn't no more as long as I was on that ship. When we got overseas, we had half barrels. They'd have a 50-gallon barrel. Cut it half in two and take the bottom half, and that's what we took our baths in.
So how long did it take you to get across?
14 days.
And where was it you left from?
Newport News.
In Virginia.
I guess it's Virginia.
Right.
Newport News.
Right, okay.
Virginia.
Right, okay.
And where we landed was Naples.
Naples in Italy, okay.
Naples in Italy.
So what did you do when you landed? Did you stay right there in Naples for a while? Or?
We did for a while. I don't know how long. A few days we was there. But it seemed like that part where the ship landed was kind of a part of a dirty part of the city. It didn't look very clean or not.
So how many guys were on that ship? Was it several battalions?
And, it was a whole company except one company wasn't on it. Company A wasn't on it.
The whole battalion, okay.
Yeah. Seemed That's what they call it, Company A.
Mhm.
Anyway, it was a platoon. It was one of our platoons. We had 4 platoons, I believe it was.
In your
First
company, right.
in the company. And we all, the whole outfit went over on that one ship. So you know that's a big one.
Mhm. Okay. So where did you go then when you left Naples? That would have been early January 1945, right?
Yeah. That's what it was. Well, we must have been there in that place, I don't know, seems like a couple of weeks before we left there.
What's the first place you came to after that then?
Well, I think we went afoot from there. We walked and we walked. And I learned how to pour water out of my boots without taking my boot off.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you walk through the water and your boots get clear full of water. Well, we didn't have time to stop, you know. No, it isn't a big hurry. We couldn't stop. We had to keep walking. I'd stand on one leg and turn the other leg and let all the water pour out the wood. And then just go slop with what was left in there.
What, were you carrying packs and rifles, or
Yeah, we was.
did you have mules with you?
We didn't have no mules. Not at that time, we didn't. We could foot. We finally got over to a place there, and they said that the boys up on the hill was having a pretty hard time. They needed a lot of ammunition is what they needed. So they loaded us down with ammunition. I forget what they put on our back. It seems like it was a couple of 100 pounds. I can't just remember the weight, but I do know it was heavy. Them packs on ours, they packed. See, the packs was already packed, loaded, and there's people there to strap them on you. And I got mine strapped on after you had to walk down the highway, kind of a blacktop, just a little ways, and then you took off to the side and went up the mountain. Well, I know just walking down that highway seemed like it might about to drive your legs into the blacktop. Of course, and then after you left that blacktop, that's where the going was hard. I tell you, that old mountain had steep places that you had to climb up.
Now, what mountain was that? Do you remember?
I don't know what the name of the mountain was. But I do know it was steep and hard. And everybody got to now started doing the same thing when they'd come to a great big rock. And there's a lot of big rocks there. They'd get on the upper side of the rock and lean back again and rest. And rest that pack, you know. Take the weight off of you and you stand there and rest. And after you rest a little bit, then you'd go on. Maybe the next thing you'd find would be a tree. You'd get on the upper side of a tree, lean back again that tree, and rest that pack. And we got up there ahead of them. A lot of the boys, it took them a lot longer to get there than it did me. Of course, I had good legs, you know, and there was nothing like my legs. Me and my partner, we made it, but we was awful tired. I tell you, we was tired when we got up there. And we'd been in the habit of digging a foxhole overnight, you know, in the habit of that. So when night come, we started digging. Well, it was on the side of that old mountain. It was a rocky old mountain, you know. The dirt was full of sand and it was full of rock, and it was hard to dig in. We just couldn't hardly dig out a place at all, but we got a place that I might have been a foot deep, or much more than a foot deep. And he says, let's just lay down in that. He says, if we get killed, we'll just get killed. I'm not going to try to dig any deeper than that hard stuff. So that's where we slept.
Now, was that the front line?
We're getting awful close to the front line.
Close, anyway.
Yeah. Because there was a German officer dead. We had passed him going up that hill. And then there's another, there's an American boy dead. And it seemed like he was a young fella. He was a very old boy, but he had a little hole right in the front of his helmet where a bullet had went through, and it's still on his head. But that's where we slept that night.
But you don't recall what battle that was or what mountain? What were some of the places that you recall being? Like Mount, what was it, Tillamook or something like that? You've said some of these things to me in the past.
Mount Belvedere was one of them.
Mount Belvedere was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of them.
I know you talked about seeing Lake Garda.
Yeah, we did. That was,
But that was later, right?
the war was just practically over when we hit that. That Lake Garda, it was a pretty lake. You could see through the water clear to the bottom. It's, one place I've seen a couple of mortar shells. I don't know, it must have been a shell that wasn't exploded or something. You could see them laying in the bottom. It's clear, like the water might have been 8 or 10 feet deep, but you could see them laying in this clear.
So then after you spent the night on that ridge, what happened after that?
That's where Herbert Anderson got killed, on that ridge.
I see. Well, eventually I know you were in the Po Valley campaign,
Yeah.
which would have been a little later on. So what do you recall about that?
I don't remember much about the Po Valley, and then there's the Po River.
Remember you talked about the German 88 shelling you.
Yeah. They was pretty, that really was pretty serious, those German boys was. They got to shooting them 30-88s right directly out of man. They're out there at the last, they couldn't see anything else to shoot at, I guess. And they was pretty accurate too.
Well, where were you when the war ended?
We was there at Lake Garda, that beautiful lake, and it was a kind of a little town. They said that at one time one of those big shots lived there at that pretty town. It had hotels and nice places in it.
Mussolini or someone?
Yeah, I think that's what you said. That was Mussolini's hangout or his home or something. Had cobblestone streets. But we never seen the
Mules over there
Oh yeah.
that you trained with?
Yeah.
They shipped those same mules over to you?
Uh-huh. But we never seen the same mules that we had in the States.
But you did use them some, huh?
Yeah, we did. I remember one time in particular we loaded them all up and was taking stuff up to the front lines. And of course they didn't let us just go right to the line, but the way we was close. So we got behind the back, kind of behind the hill from the front line and got the old mules all tied up. And old mortars would come screaming through the air, you know, and light out there. And they'd go over us because we was kind of right again the hill, see. They'd go over us. One of them landed out there not too far from us and didn't go off. One boy said that his powder must have been wet. And we didn't have anything to drink. We ran out of water. So we just wondered, there's kind of a low place there getting that bank, we just wondered if we couldn't dig down to water maybe. And we went to dig it. A couple of little old Italian boys, they come along there. And we couldn't understand their language and they couldn't understand ours, but they was pointing. So they say, Yanny, Yanny, honey, Yanny, Yanny, Yanny. And then somebody finally, they thought they discovered what they were trying to tell us. If we dug forever, we'd never get no water there. So we quit digging.
So after the war then, where did you leave from when you went back to the States?
I can't remember what town that was.
Wasn't the same place?
I don't think so. We went to Boxcar, and the wheels was about wore out on that boxcar. Had flat places in the wheel. Bump, 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 bump. And some of them boys had no sleep while they lay down on the floor of the little boxcar, you know, and they just every time it bumped it like that, you know. And I couldn't sleep. I didn't even try to.
Was there a lot of celebrating when you heard the war was over?
Quite a bit. We were at Lake Garda when it ended. And there were 3 girls. What did they call them girls? It was Army girls. Black. Anyway, they were pretty nice looking girls. They had a little old sheet they go. There was a great big dishpan full of hot donuts. I think that was the 8th of, what year was it? The 8th?
May.
Huh?
May.
I believe it was May, 8th of May.
Do you remember the ship that you came back home on?
No,
Wasn't the same ship, obviously, but
might not have been. I don't remember as much about coming back home as I did going over.
well, you said the war ended in Japan when you were on the way back, right?
That's right. He dropped that H-bomb, and that ended her. And you know, you couldn't hardly believe it. You see, our outfit hadn't been over there in Italy near as long as some of the other outfits had. So they figured we was the new over there. We ought to be about the first to go
To Japan?
to Japan, yeah. So that's where we left. We left Italy with the intention of going to Japan. We got on the water and the darn thing emptied. I mean, it ended. So them boys that had been over there so long were still over there, and we got to come on home. we was lucky. Some boys and other boys, they was unlucky.
So did you land at Newport News again?
Yeah, we did. We landed the same darn place. We talked about that coming home. I always kind of liked to have landed at New York. I never did see New York. Or the Statue of Liberty or anything, but it didn't happen. We went right back to the same place.
And then you got on a train and went back to Fort Leavenworth?
That's what we did. Back to Fort Leavenworth. I think we got a 14-day a month. At least like that time we got 30 days. Then we had to go back to Leavenworth to get our discharge.
So you were discharged when then?
25th of September, 45.
What was your rank then?
Corporal.
Did they call it a corporal, or was that what they called a Tech 5 or something?
I think some of them called it a Tech
Had
5.
two stripes with a T under it.
I believe that's what it was.
Your voice is getting wore out. We better quit, huh?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what makes my voice that way. Didn't used to do that, but now I don't do it unless I talk quite a while.
You know, you're not as young as you were in 1945, I guess.
That's right. I'd hate to try to pack that big old pack of shells up that hill now.